Okay. So I have prepared a basic slide for the initial part. Let me share my screen. I forgot to do that. All right. All of you able to see my screen, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and just forgive me about this recording message here. I don't know why it's popping up all the time. Ignore that because I'm recording this video for the purpose of putting into the our YouTube channel and this recording just in case you required for your future reference. Uh, so this is what we are going to today we are going to implement a simple topology uh, where you will be having the MDS, one MDS, then one VSX gateway. Under that one VSX gateway, we'll be having two virtual systems, one database server where we'll try to do the or send the traffic towards these virtual systems and capture those and look into different various options available in this virtual systems, and this PC where we'll be logging to these things. So don't worry, this term is going to be explained. I just wanted to tell you that what we are going to see. Okay. Now let's talk about what is multi-domain security management system, MDS. So as you all know, the basics of multi-domain security management server, MDS. So consider you working as a service provider. Okay, this is what say you have a scope as a service provider, and within your scope you have different clients which you need to provide a services. Okay, so consider you have a say one client for uh, Germany location, one client for the UK location, one client for the US location, whatever it is. Okay. You sometimes you need to manage this client, in a single console. Within a single view, you have to see different stuff of this client, and you need to impose the things on those clients. Okay. So basically, the MDS gives you the flexibility and the scope of having a centralized management solution. So for all these different clients which are located across the globe, what you're going to do for them, you will be creating a separate security management service. I hope we all know what is SMS, Security Management Server. It's a management server where you have the just one more thing, just put your cell phone on mute in case you'll be not hearing the background noise. Sorry for that, guys. Just other need to be understood. So, see, security management server. So this all different client will be having a separate security management server for managing their policies, managing their objects, managing their IP addresses, right? So for that, this MDS, you know, is very helpful. Within a single click, you will be able to create a simple security management server for each and every client. So here, why I'm referring security management server, I'll be showing you in a bit. But for now, consider this security management server in MDS world. They call it like a domain. Okay. So every client, this is a Germany client, this is UK client, this is USA client. For each and every one, you will be providing one separate security management server for their all management purpose, like object, policies, IP addresses, whatever we do with the our security management server. So basically, it's a centralized management. So when you log into this MDS, you have a flexibility to see all these domains at one time. Also, you have a flexibility to put whatever as global configuration you have for these guys in a single click. So we'll be seeing something called global management, okay, from where you'll be just putting the details on a single console, and that will be imposed at the same time to all these management servers. You getting my point? So centralized management, within a single console, you will be able to manage all this SMS, all these domains, plus the global management where you'll be putting details on a one console, and that will be imposed to all this domain at the same time, right? Have we able to do that with the SMS? No, right? If you have a say uh, a single SMS box, security management server box, will be just providing whatever the detail with respect to this guy. Okay, if you wanted to have a more SMS to be added, you have to purchase a new security management server box or a soft piece, and you need to deliver the work from there, right? A separate security management server each time. But within this scope of the MDS, you don't have to do that. You will have the flexibility to deliver this work within one box. That's why we have this MDS in place. Clear why we use MDS? At least 2 points. One, centralized management, and one is your global management, right? Now, as I said, management is based on domains. And in simple terms, understand these domains are nothing but your a separate SMS, security management server. Okay. So whatever you get with a simple security management server, you'll be getting from this domain. So just understand, when I talk about the domain, I'm talking about the SMS only. Okay, I'm referring here SMS. SMS is your security management server, right? When you log into the smart console, you see the stuff. You get the access to your SMS or a management server, right? That is for SMS. I don't wanted to go in that depth. Why? What is this security management server and all this? I hope this is clear to you guys. Now there is one more thing which comes like a MDS. We call as a multi-domain log servers. Multi-domain log servers. So as we have this SMS in place where we see the logs and everything, when you log into the SMS, you go to the logs and monitoring tab. You will see the logs over there. Whatever the gateway you have configured, those gateways, send their logs to this management server. You will see those details over there. Like that, MDS or multi-domain security management server, they also have a separate dedicated log servers, what they call multi-domain log servers. So if you work as a service provider, or you work as a multi-vendor client support perspective, that time this multi-domain log server is very useful and very helpful, because you'll be integrating multiple clients, multiple SMS, you know, within this. So again, this is a central control. So within one MDLS, multi-domain log server, we will be able to see all this multiple domains or multiple SMS logs. You just have to give the IP address or whatever the syntax we'll be looking at, and after that we'll be seeing those traffics within a one console. You don't have to move to a separate SMS. For example, these are the separate SMS. You have to log into this SMS to see XYZ gateways logs, something like that. No, within a one console itself, you will be able to see the all the logs. So that is what the centralized management we have with respect to the uh, multi-domain log servers, right? It's a simple click when you will be going to create this MDS server. I'll be showing where we will just create this. So in your lab, if you have ample of space, you can run this multi-domain log servers, MDS, and various features. All right. So that is basics of the MDS. Why we have the MDS? Why will we have this log servers? Let's move to the next slide. This is also explaining the same things what we just explained, but we'll be looking into the kind of little bit deeper way. So it talks about the basics of multi-domain management components. So multi-domain servers, they have these components. One is your domains, which we call domain management servers. Okay. In the other terms, when we have a simple configuration where you have the one security management servers and multiple gateways, okay, that time we refer this as security management server. But when we come in MDS, when we configure this thing into the MDS, similar thing here will be referring as a domain management server. Okay, because we are talking about the MDS, that's why that term is tweaked like a domain management server. Provided it will give you all the functionality what we have in a SMS, but only thing is that you will be having a multiple SMS here. You can create as many SMS as you want based on your MDS license. Okay, will we talk about the licensing also, like how many you can create at the uh, your free lab, or we'll see the licensing what we have in the checkpoint world. So that we'll be going to see. Okay, so it's a fun, guys. I mean, as of now, we are seeing the things like okay, one SMS and do the things over there. But if you seeing the stuff where you will be just within a one click you will be just creating a SMS, you know in Windows world, in Citrix world, you configure these profiles in a single click like that for a new users. Like that in MDS will be in a single click you'll be configuring a different domains. So that is the flexibility what they have provided, like checkpoint provided to us, right? And again, it's a centralized management and the life is easy. And most of the organization nowadays are uh, existingly they are shifting to this solution. Why? Because purchasing different SMS servers soft pieces is costlier than having the solution in place, and the management becomes very easy when we talk about this. Maybe if you don't have this in your environment, we'll be seeing in the future for sure with different organization, right? So this is how it looks and feels. So MDS, you have a flexibility, you can create a multiple MDS, okay, and you'll be having them in say in HA, in high availability mode, or the mode where you will do the clustering part. So say this is right now is active one, and if it got down, the another one get active, your the the management traffic will not impact here. All right, and in this MDS will be creating different domains. Okay, we'll be seeing in the lab. Okay, and within these domains we'll be having your VS X gateways. Okay, we'll be seeing in a bit. And within this VSX gateway, you will be having your virtual systems. Okay, let's see the next slide. And guys, feel free to ask me question if you are not able to able to clear any point here. So far, I'm hoping nobody is raising anything, so we are good. Okay. Now this is the look and feel when we talk about when we log in into this MDS. So the earlier versions, which is prior to R77.30 or this guy, uh, we will be having all together different consoles. So for that, you have to download a separate MDS client, like we download for the SMS smart console. But here, within the existing client, what we have for the SMS, you can log into this gateway. Sorry, this multi-domain management server. Within that, it will just ask you the IP address, and you just jump back to this, and you will looking this stuff. So we'll be looking this thing in a deeper way. Just I wanted to tell you how it looks. When you log in, you will be seeing your all the domains configuration here. This is the domain configuration page. Then what are the the names and the IP addresses associated with that we'll be seeing here. And if you have a multiple uh, uh, multi-domain servers configure, you'll be seeing these details here. And at the last, you'll be seeing the log servers details. Okay, uh, if you have configured that in place. Okay. Uh, this slide is something which explaining the console, the smart console. It's better to look into this when we jump to this actual lab part. So I'm just skipping this slide for now. Let's go for the VSX. So let me ask you guys. Where is my so hardware perspective? If you talk about the smart one uh, appliances, okay. So this smart one appliances, they come up with this MDS features integrated, provided you have a flexibility to make this smart one appliance as your single SMS, or you can make it like a as a MDS. So when we do the first time configuration uh, wizard, that time it will ask you like how you want this to be configured. You know, so basically, we have a hardware as well, we have a software as well. Depends how you want to integrate it, right, Shahrukh?
And what about the management server? In a multi-domain server, we create the multiple SMS, right? So
Yeah.
for integrating the SMS, we require hardware SMS or what?
No. So
Okay.
within this box, it will create a virtual SMS for you. Okay. and
Okay.
that will look like your actual SMS, like a hardware box. We'll be going to see that. All right. So
Yes.
in a VSX world, we need to have a VSX gateway. I know what you are talking about. So in that virtual gateway, we need to have that hardware or a soft piece, present for that. And within that, we'll be creating the virtual system. In MDS, a broader view, we need to have this hardware like this, the one I have shown you. Okay. But for different domains, different SMS inside this box, you don't have to have hardware. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. And good question. Why? Because same fundamental is applied onto the VS6, right? So let's see that stuff. Now let's talk about the VSX. Checkpoint virtual systems, and X stand for extension. So in Cisco world, we call it like a context. So multiple context of your firewalls. In checkpoint world, we call it as a virtual systems. So consider, let me give you an idea on this. So consider this is your firewall gateway or VSX box or VSX gateway. When I talk about the gateway here, consider in a large picture. So this is the actual your appliance, the actual soft piece for the virtual system extension, what we are getting. And within this box, you'll be having a separate virtual systems. VS1, VS2, VS3, VS4, right? And this one virtual system is act like your one firewall. So under one box, you'll be having a different virtual systems, and this virtual systems, as I told you, domain equal to SMS. You can consider your firewall gateway equal to virtual system. So one virtual system will act as a one firewall, and I'll be showing you what are the functionality we'll be getting from this one firewall itself. Okay, so this is the virtual systems, and they call it extension because they give you the flexibility where you will be having virtualizations of the firewalls. So consider this same example, you have a different clients in our various geographical location. One is UK, one is US, one is German. So consider you have given this firewall to the UK region. You have given this firewall to Germany region. You have given this firewall to the US region. Like that. Or what else you can do? This one firewall will do the IPS work. This one firewall will do the URL filtering work. This one firewall only do the packet processing work. Depends on your requirement, depends on your ideas, depends on your solution architecture part. You will be utilizing this entire solution. Okay, it's up to you. It has a licensing and everything we'll be seeing in a short. But this is how the the VSX and the virtual system concept look like. It looks very simple when I explain you, but when we configure this in a lab, it is kind of difficult to understand. but I'll make you sure that we'll be, getting all these things with you by end of the day. Okay. So Checkpoint says this is based on the industry's proven VSX solution, allows security gateway consolidations, gradual growth, provides superior performance and stabilities. This point is important because within a one box, you will be, utilizing this VS and its throughput. So it has some throughput. Say for example, you will use this VS for some purpose, say IPS, so you need to have a good amount of throughput for that. So you can assign the throughput, say 1 GB per sec, something like that, GBps, throughput utilization for this virtual system. Like that, you will be utilizing this for some other purpose, depending on you know you will be configure your virtual systems processing. It's kind of advanced concept to modify all those things. You can deliver that work as well. That is not a scope of this lab, but you can utilize your virtual system, these firewalls, as per your requirement, as per the throughput you want, you know, to be delivered from this. Okay, we'll be seeing what are the blades we can configure on this, what are the things we'll be configure on this in a bit. Let's go to the next slide. I hope this is clear what is virtual system extension and what is the use of it. Okay, now let's see the components of this. So when we talk about the virtual system components within this Esx Gateway, you can create your own virtual router, you can create your own virtual switch, you can create your own firewalls, which is virtual systems, right? Virtual routers, there is an acronym for that, VR. A virtual device or a VSX gateway or a VSX cluster member that function as a physical router. Most of the organization, they don't use this virtual router feature because it's a kind of complicated situation. Consider this is a virtual system extension gateway you have, and you have a different VS here, right? Now you want to deliver, say different sort of routings. I'm not talking about the routing which we call it dynamic routing. We'll get it from say uh, BGP, OSPF with that. I'm just talking in a simple way some basic routings which we deliver, because this thing also can be achievable without this router. So having the routing in place, like how you want this virtual system to be communicate to the other virtual system, if you want to do that, you don't want to do that, depending on your requirement, you will be having this router in place. So it will be like a virtual router but act like a physical router, like that. You can configure these things as per your requirement. Like that, you have a virtual switch as well. So if you want to configure basically the clustering in broader way, like you have a multiple VS and you want to perform the load balancing between this VS, uh, you can use this virtual switch for that. Like that, you can depending on your requirement, you can tweak these things and you can configure that part. The scope of this lab is configuring the virtual systems and doing the troubleshooting on that, configuring the VSX gateway, configuring the virtual system, and troubleshooting things on that. Don't worry, I'll be providing the videos on this, how you can configure these switches and routers, uh, and how you can do the load balancing between the virtual system using these routers and the switches. Okay, let's talk about the warp link. So when we create this virtual switch in this VSX, so this is a virtual switch, and these are your VSS virtual systems. So as soon as you configure this switch here, a link associated with this to this virtual system got created. This link is by default created by the checkpoint appliance, which we called warp link. I'll be showing you how it get created. I don't have to do anything with this. It's just a link which is created to help you to, give you the L2 sort of functionality between the switch and this virtual systems. So using this interface or this warp link, you can travel your packets from this virtual system to the other virtual systems. So basically, this is nothing but the simple link between the two virtual devices. So not only the virtual switch, you will be having a virtual routers, you will be having this virtual link created for that. I'm sure you are not getting this point now, but once I will be doing the lab, I'll be showing this how it get created and what is the use of it. Okay. Now, this is all about the virtual components of the VSX gateway. Let's talk about what we have when we talk about the physical components. So when you purchase this VSX gateway, okay, or virtual system extension appliance, you will be having a VSX gateway. This is your own appliance. Then you will be having this dedicated management interface. This interface is nothing but the interface which we use to configure, which we will use to have a communication between your MDS and your virtual system extension gateway. So we have two choices. One is your dedicated management interface, which is Checkpoint also recommended. So it transfers the management level traffic. So here we'll be having your login, your connection oriented from this MDS towards this VSS gateway. All this traffic get transferred via dedicated management interface, right? And there is something called non-dedicated management interface, which is kind of shared interface, which you will be having also with the MDS and the VSX gateway. The purpose of this non-dedicated management interface is that transferring the actual operational traffic. So when I talk about the operational traffic, just consider the traffic where the actual packet processing involved, your all the traffic with respect to the you can say WK kernel packets and everything, whatever which is comes in operational way, which is getting transferred via non-dedicated management interface. We'll be seeing this into the lab. For now, just understand when I talk about the dedicated management interface, it's all about your management traffic, and when we talk about the non-dedicated management interface, it's all about your operational traffic. Okay, and the last part is the link aggregation. So in virtual system extension, when we configure the virtual systems and everything, in physical box, we'll be having a different interfaces here. And if you want to achieve a good throughput, what we do aggregate this interface in a one. So for example, this interface gives you 1 gigahertz. This also give 1 gigahertz. We'll aggregate that and you'll be getting a 2 gigahertz of processing. Like that, you can do it in a checkpoint world, which they call as a link aggregation. And when we configure them together, we call it as a bond. Okay, so we'll be creating a link aggregation between the two interfaces, and we are bonding that so that we'll be achieving a greater throughput. For this is a 1 gigabit, this is 1 gigabit, but having this bond in place, we'll be getting an output of 2 gigabit. That is what we deliver This is more of, when we go to when we see in real life scenarios, when we work with organization, you will be seeing a lot of bond interfaces. So that time you should understand, if you see the bond interface, that is nothing but they have delivered the link aggregation between the two interface to achieve a better throughput. Clear, guys? Any question, you can unmute and let me know. Anyone have any doubt here? Are we going fast, slow? I think let me just give him more clarity. Maybe Shahrukh is not clear. So, see, Shahrukh, this is what your MDS. Okay. In MDS, you will be configuring these domains, right? These domains are what? These are the SMS. So now consider you only have the SMS. So in this SMS, you will be having the same functionality what this SMS provide from the MDS, right? But this gateway, VSX gateway, what we have purchased, what we have, it has a licensing for the different VS. Okay. So for this, I have say 5 licenses, 5 virtual system I can configure. So within this SMS, I can create this, okay, because the SIG is established between this, so that I can create these things and I can manage from this SMS. Okay, no problem there. But having MDS in place, we have some different features altogether. Within this, as I called, this is a centralized management. So centralized management give you flexibility to manage all this VSX, this thing within this single console. And with that, we'll be getting a altogether different features to do this management. But to your question, SMS give you the same functionality configuring what we get from this as MDS. Clear now?
Yeah, it's clear. Thanks.
Okay. So now the picture will be clear more a little bit. So here, if you see, there is a 6100 virtual system supports. So consider you have purchased this, your company purchased this large appliance, and if you see, there is a multiple firewalls is integrated into that. Inside that, you can create a multiple virtual systems, and these virtual systems act like your own firewalls. Okay, and if you see, these are the blades which are supported for the virtual systems. So in a virtual systems, you can configure the firewall, you can call identity awareness, you can call VPNs, you can call application delivery network configuration, you can call SSL VPN, you can call, I said call, you can configure IPS, you can configure your filtering, you can configure antivirus, anti-bot, okay, all together. And depending on your requirement, you can have flexibility. Say if you can configure only one virtual system, provide you IPS and VPN, one give you another one give you the other functionalities. It's up to you. But all these blades and features, like the simple firewall when we purchase from the checkpoint, it supports virtual system itself, give a flexibility having all this together. I mean, having all these blades functionality uh, in a one consolidated view. So consolidated gateway with a virtual system, customized per virtual system, software-based security. It's up to you, how you can use these virtual systems, what purpose you have, the organization decided. Depending on that, you can configure these things. Uh, this is how the use case. generally we see in organization. Uh, Say you have this virtual system box, extension box, and within that you can configure different virtual systems, and you can use one virtual system as yours just only the firewall purpose, certification purpose. And if within your organization you can configure the different virtual system for the anti-bot, IPS, and like that. And as here shown, you can use the throughputs depending on your requirements. So where you require a more throughput, you can give that over there. Where you require a less throughput, you can give that there. It's up to you how you can configure. Okay. And now let's see the use case. Sorry, the architecture. What inside we have into this virtual system extension. Okay. So generally, when you talk about the firewall, okay, it's a little bit deeper. Just try to grab this. We have two things. So this is my firewall gateway. In my firewall gateway, we have two things. One is your user mode processes, and one is your kernel mode processes. Okay. In user mode processes, they are more of responsible for giving you the uh, experience of a GUI, giving you management in terms of the smart console management, providing you the features which we get from the uh, uh, processes like FWM, FWD. I hope you guys heard about these things. If you not, so these are the daemons or the processes which you actually the checkpoint use to do the functionality. So for example, when you log into the smart console, when you push the policy, something like that, FWM process come into the picture. And when we talk about the logging and everything, the FWD process come into the picture. So like that, we have some processes in a kernel also, you know. Uh, in kernel level, we have a connection table, we have the uh, template tables, we have the stateful packet inspection features and everything. Core Excel, secure Excel. I mean, these are the all the CCSE part. I'm not going to touch this, but just in case if you want to do the acceleration of your packets, you use the core secure Excel. And if you want to you achieve the core level feature like multi-core processing, having CPU attached to different processes, you can use core Excel. So like that, those processes resides depending on the requirements. So some processes required put I mean do the functionality from the user mode. Some give from the kernel mode perspective. So like that, in virtual system, we have the processes which are assigned from the user mode and the kernel mode. So if you see, these are all processes which we align for the virtual system. It's by default from the checkpoint itself for user mode. So the CPD, FWD, VPND, FWK. So FWK is a process with the firewall kernel code complied in user mode. It is responsible for all its traffic inspection that is not done in these things. So let's talk about the kernel mode processes first. So for example, the packet comes from the outside world. It hit to your NIC, your firewall interface. Then what happens? The secure Excel come into the picture, which try to accelerate your packets. They call it as a P for the performance pack. Okay, and then the core Excel thing come into the picture, which they call as a firewall dispatcher. In core Excel, there is something called SND, which give you the flexibility to assign the different packets to different uh, virtual systems or different processes accordingly. It's a kind of different level. Just I wanted you to understand this in a higher view. So over there, this firewall dispatcher, what it do, it just assign the packet as per the process requirements. Say, for example, the packet which need to be go to the logging purpose. It will assign to the FWD process, something like that. So this is a firewall dispatcher, you know, which do the delivery of these things. So this is what happens in a kernel mode, and when that packet move to the user mode, there is something called trap set. uh, Trap is there, which initiate the kernel mode process communication to the user mode process, and when the user mode want to communicate to the kernel mode, they set input output uh, uh, packets processing. So this is how it transfer the packets between the kernel mode and the user mode, and from here the packet goes to this user mode, and depending on the requirement, if it's a VPN packet, it's a log process packet, or it's a control packet, depending on that the packet processing happens. Just important point which we have to look here, which is every VS gives you all these different daemons or processes altogether. So when we purchase one box of a checkpoint gateway, we'll be having only this, say, set of these processes: CPD, FWD, VPND, like that, FWK, at a one box, and all the packet which are hitting to this is only processed by this thing. But in a virtual system, the packets are processing with the processes at a different level. So everywhere you will be having, every virtual system will be having a set of these things which you can use for the better throughput purpose, right? So this is how actually internally the things works. And if the packet which hits, or if you don't have a secure XL enable into your gateway, those packets get processed by this process, FWK, like that. The stateful inspection happens and something like that here. So it's kind of deeper level of the understanding. I just wanted to have this slide here, just in case you want to see how it works little bit deeper way. I hope this is clear. If it's not clear, if we will be having us, the CCSE course, I'll be explaining this in a very deeper way, how these things works together. Okay. Uh, let's talk about the virtual system licensing. So we'll be having the licensing like this. So when you purchase a checkpoint box, say 4,000, say something like that, okay, by default you will get a one virtual system license, which is VS0. But if you want to create a multiple virtual systems, you need to have this additional license to be purchased. So it depends on your requirement. You can go for the 3, 10, 25, 50, or simply 5. Depending on your requirement, you have to purchase this. So quickly, let's see if I can show you how it looks in a checkpoint site. That is, if you see here, say 25 virtual system package, something like that. So depending on your requirement, you have to have this license. This is an evaluation purpose, what the checkpoint has provided to us, that you can evaluate these licenses freely for 30 days and more, depending on how many times you're generating this license. So like that, it gives you license for the virtual system. So this one is for the 25 virtual systems. So if you have this license in place, you can use 25 virtual systems, like that. For the management system, you have a, say, license for 5 domains and 50 gateways, like that, right? So this is what how the licensing look. And the question what you asked, Charuk, that this SMS. So, for example, you have purchased this SMS, your organization, okay? Sorry, this security gateway, your organization purchases security gateway, and you will be having the existing SMS. But as you said, by default, it come up with the one license, okay? So this SMS won't be able to give you functionality. But if you purchase these licenses, okay, so this SMS with this you can configure the multiple virtual system itself in that uh, SMS itself. Okay, so this is it for the theoretical part, guys. Uh, any questions so far? So let me know if you all are gathered together. We'll start for the lab.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Yes, I'm available.
Charo, Ruturaj.
Yeah, available.
Okay. So what we just take a screenshot of this. This is what we're going to configure now. Okay. So let's configure the MDS first. And this is the old name. They give it to the domains, customer management add-on, something like that, CMA. So what we'll be going to do, we'll be configure one MDS server, and within that we'll be configure two CMA, which is we call as a domain. Okay. And once that is done, we'll be configuring the VSX gateway. Okay. And within that VSX gateway, we'll be configuring two virtual systems. And then we'll talk about the communication part, the troubleshooting part. Okay. On this, we'll be running some important commands which will be helpful for you guys in day-to-day life troubleshooting and various purposes. Okay. So the lab is very simple. It's not complicated. So let me have one folder here. Yes. Okay, so I'm just doing the stuff. I'll be explaining. Let me know if you're not clear on any part. It's a very simple thing. What we already deliver with the installation part. When actual the configuration comes from the smart console itself, then that is important to look in. But now, just be with me. I wanted this to be configured from the scratch, so that you can see the stuff. Initially, I was thought like, okay, let's have this gateways in place and the MDS in place, and we'll be saving some time there. But I don't want to do that, just in case if anybody is having the question later. So let's go ahead and just I wanted to take the OS. I hope you guys also having this OS with you, and if you like simultaneously, you can also perform the same things with me. And if you are not able to, just observe the things. The observation is important for now. So I have given you two OS. One is security management, security gateway. We'll be using the same thing here. Right now I'm configuring the MDS. So let's go ahead. This is open server, so I'll be just giving whatever the open server things we required. One important thing also wanted to note that when we go to the checkpoint side, always go for the release notes and check there, what is the requirement for the particular OS to be installed for the open servers or the appliances. It will give you the exact, how many GB the RAM required, how many GB the ROM or hard disk required, and how many processor you need to configure. Okay, depends on your requirement. So this is MDS, what we're going to configure. Uh, let's have it on the desktop. Clear folder. just go on Esx. And within this, I just want to have one more folder, which is MDS. So this is important. The MDS always try to give more hard disk. So mostly give it more than 250 giga bits, because within this we'll be creating a different SMS. Within this we'll be creating different domains and everything. For that you need to have a sufficient hard disk in place. So try to give more hard disk here, and RAM is always more than 4 gigabits. This is MDS, everything is going to happen from there. So I'm giving a little bit more, say 8 gigabit here. Processors, just give it like 2 here, 2 here, and we'll be using a one interface for this. But depending on your requirement, you can add multiple NIC. This is simply a VM environment. It's not a EXI environment, so do not bother much on this part. The main purpose is just understand the concepts what we are going to deliver. Let me remove this processor HB5. Finish. Power on this virtual machine. Let's do this. Let's simultaneously have the gateway OS also installed. So here the MDS will be having one entire OS, and for the security gateway or VSX will be having an entire gateway. Okay, and within these two OS will be creating virtual systems or domains. Okay, that is what the purpose is. So let me have this in place. This is VSX. So for gateway, for now I'll be giving only 30 GB hard disk. Here you require a processors minimum two, and with the gateway you require a multiple interfaces NIC, because the more NIC you will be having, you'll be using those for different purposes for the your virtual systems. How they take go to the outside world using which NIC. So try to have a multiple NIC here for the purpose of the gateway virtual systems. So I'll be showing you why it's important. For now, have it more than 5, and if you are using in a bridge mode will be great. So we'll be not having any issue for the connection. power it on. So this is MDS. Select language. So here important point to be noted, whenever you configure this thing, always give a good amount of space for the system root, because whatever the different domains will be creating, it use this root memory for sure. So let's see if I can able to give it like a 50 gigabit. Okay. I'm hoping this basics is clear. I'm not explaining more here, but this is what generally we do normal configuration. If you're not clear on this, just let me know. I'll explain that part as well. So let's have it IP address as per the topology. What was that? So we are giving MDS 192.168.1 dot instead of 2. Consider this is 200. No, sorry. 200 is given to the basic gateway. Okay, it's better to have the 2. 192.168.1.2. Okay. I am not specifying any default gateway here because this is a lab. But in real world, you have to give it the default gateway of your security gateway. So I will go with the gateway. Okay. So I think this error you will be receiving because of the RAM requirement. So let's go ahead and change that. As we forgot to give the perfect RAM, so let's give it that. That's why you require, most of the time to check those release notes and see what is the RAM requirement for having the gateway in place or having the MDS or whatever the SMS in place. I'll be showing you where you can look that release note, but for now, just see. So minimum it required 2 GB, but I'll be giving more than 4 here for now. Meanwhile, if you have any question, you can ask me, during these labs. It's not necessary. It should be with the what we are delivering. Any questions you have in mind ready to checkpoint world, just let me know. We'll try to answer that, and simultaneously we'll be doing this lab part as well. So as per the lab, this need to be have 200 IP address. So without any default gateway. So if you go to the checkpoint site, for example, uh, you go to the checkpoint site and you just type the release note. So whichever the version you are running, just have to come here, and there is a section called here release notes. You have to open this, and if you see here, there is something called hardware requirement. So for example, open server hardware requirement, you'll be seeing now what is the minimum hardware requirement you need to set up. So say for the VSX, they recommended 4 GB of RAM, and for the security management server, MDS server, they recommended 30 GB, 32 GB of RAM. In lab, 8 GB will work, but when we have production environment, so you have to go for this recommendation what the checkpoint says. So that was the RAM requirement and hard disk requirement. So in short, you can say if you have this in place, you are at a good side, what they recommended. And if you provided little bit less than this, what they have mentioned, of course you will be getting issues for sure in future, right? So let's reboot the MDS. Hope so the Esx also got completed. I think except I think we are in Maharashtra, right? Shahrukh and Rituraj. I think Rituraj is from the Kolhapur.
Yes,
Shahrukh,
Mumbai.
you belongs to where? So I think today they told something like there will be electricity outage.
Yes, today at 5 there is a electricity outage for only for 1 minute. I don't know about the whole days. Maybe they should be.
Yeah, so that's why just have your laptops charged so that we will not lose anything. So let's jump to the MDS now. The basic thing is got done, basic configuration. Now this is the fun part begins. So HTTPS 192.168.1.1 sorry 2 is my IP address of the MDS. So right now we can't call it like a MDS. We call it like a SMS only because the OS is for that. Now we are going to make it MDS. I'll show you where. So give it a username password. Giving some basic defaults details there because it's just lab. So here, if you see, there is an option called multi-domain server. This is the trick. You have to select this. Now it will ask you what you want to make it. So you can make it as a primary multi-domain server, If you want to have this in a HA environment, or you can make it multi-domain secondary, or as I said, you can make it this as a log server. So a dedicated log server for different customers. Okay. So I'll be selecting primary multi-domain server for now. And this is also important, guys. This check mark need to be have here, because when we talk about the upgrading from the console itself, you can have that in place because of this check marks. If you don't do that, you have to enable that from the other options. But always remember, this check mark is very important. The leading VIP interface are real interface connected to the external network. These interfaces are used when setting domain management server virtual IP address. Each leading interface can host up to 250 virtual IP addresses, domain management server. So this is the main your interface, which is connecting to the outside world. So depends how many interface you have and which interface you are configuring as an external interface. You have to select that here. So I want you guys to be clarity on this point. Leading interface need to be interface where your external traffic going to be passed on. Okay. Next. Here you can define how many hosts or which host you are going to connect to your MDS. So for lab, I'm getting any, but recommended is the specific default settings. Depends what you need to have over here. We'll be using the same credentials what we have in our at the first place. That's it, guys. There is nothing much here what we need to deliver except the two options we have to select, and the MDS is getting configured. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and check if we have our Esx Gateway ready. Okay. Okay, let's go for that as well. So this is the configuration for the Esx Gateway. So you can configure this thing as we go on, or you can configure later on. I just wanted to configure one more interface here. Just give it any IP address, 10.1.1 dot say 200 255.255.0. Next name, it's a VSX. Primary domain server. Next. So this is a security gateway. So select as a security gateway. And if you want this to be a part of cluster, you have to select this option. That's it. Activation key, we all know, is very important when we establish a sync between uh, SMS or the MDS and the security and the gateway. That's it, guys. Just get it rebooted. So how it is, guys? Are we performing same thing in your lab, or it just you're looking at the thing? I know about the Ruturaj having issue with the laptop.
We're not just watching for now. I think so. Basically, it's the same installation, just like we were doing a gateway, single sig gateway, and a management. Except when you come to the choice part, you choose the MDS.
Yeah, for the MDS is like that, and the VSX, as I told you during the licensing part, by default it is a VSX gateway,
Mm-hmm.
but we were not having the license in place for the virtual systems.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not act like a VSX or virtual system extension things. So for a lab purpose, this is already integrated with the different licenses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not having the actual license, we'll be going to import that. But for demo purpose, we can configure it as VSX.
Oh.
But the main key is your license. So any gateway who supports the license for the
Uh-huh.
VSX virtual systems can be configured as a virtual system extension gateway.
And the license is after we install everything, right?
Yeah, so you will import those license after the
Okay.
main installation. This is for the lab. For the actual appliances, you have two choices. You can purchase while purchasing the appliances, or you can purchase later on. It's up to you.
They have a 30-day trial for the license for VSX.
Yeah.
Okay.
For you, I think it's maybe you can have more than that. Uh, I don't know. But for the rest of the people, we can generate it from the site, and that is for the 30 days.
Right.
And Raturaj and Shahrukh, you can have those license in your lab, not only for the 30 days. You can also extend that. You can make your lab live forever. So you just have to go to the checkpoint site, again regenerate the license once your license is getting expired. Okay, I'll be showing that step. Okay. Meanwhile, why don't we see that? Let's go to the checkpoint site. I hope you guys are having this account, a checkpoint, a checkpoint, a checkpoint, a checkpoint, a checkpoint, a checkpoint give you flexibility to have your own account in place. You don't have to use any company's account. It's not recommended because it's all about the money. So you can create your own simple account and just log in. You'll be having the same features. Uh, then what you need to do after that, you have to create your own account. For example, let me show you. Yeah, you just have to come here. Like this, you can create your own account. This is, see, I don't have any product here, but still I'll be able to, utilize the license checkpoint is here what the checkpoint is providing. Okay. If you don't know this thing, just go ahead into my website, sorry, the YouTube channel. I'll be having the video for how you can create these things. It's very simple. And once you are there, you just have to come to the product evaluation, and you can evaluate checkpoint products for your study purpose, lab purpose, but not for the actual real time purpose for any sort of commercial use. Just for the purpose of the labs and the training. That's it. So other evaluation, if you go here, you will see the products, and from here, first go ahead and download this license, this guy. So you have to select that evaluation for the virtual system package. Once that is done, say next. It will ask you about your licensing part, which account you want to have the license, the purpose, give it a evaluation. And if you like checkpoint representative contact you and confirm their conditions, get the evaluation license. And if you see, you can view your license from here. Just click this. License information, go to the license. Here you have to give the details. So the central and the local license, guys, central is only you are creating for your single appliances, and the local is something you are creating for the from the management server and the appliance itself as well. Let me see. Yeah, but I think for the VSX we are not seeing something like that. So better have the central license. Give it your IP address of your gateway. Uh, 192.168.1.200. This is what the VSX IP address. Uh, it's a checkpoint. The hardware brand name. Just select it and just say license. And here you have to just click get license file. And that license file will get downloaded. You just have to import it from CLI or from the smart updates, this license file, and you are good to go. That's it. So let's go back to this. That the gateway is getting, and it's 90%. Probably if everything goes well, next weekend, uh, as Raj requested some sort of trainings, which is, to be honest, in very depth, where we will going with the performance optimization, hardware optimization, core Excel, secure Excel, uh, then VPNs, then also going in depth into the different level of processes, different level of debugs. Uh, it's a very in-depth level course we'll be going to have next weekend if everything goes well, if Raj is okay and everything. If you want to part on that, let me know. Will see how I can add you guys as well. Okay, it's taking too much time. I'm hoping there should be no power outage now. It's 9:58. What is the time in Dallas now? I think it's
11:30.
okay. Tomorrow, today, in US, you have off, right?
No, yeah, well, tomorrow's off. Today was work.
Okay. In my office, so they were like, okay, we're having some off day today.
Oh, no. Only, I think some places, some countries having Passover and all that, but not here.
Now, what is the weather there? How it is?
It's from winter to summer, just transitioning slowly.
Okay, so it's moving to the summer now.
Yeah, yeah.
The cold in Dallas there in Dallas, it's like crazy,
Yeah.
like
All,
Mumbai. Mumbai is
all
quite like
four. We have a class somewhere for real world troubleshooting, which you can probably include in any of your advanced training, right? Like day to day troubleshooting, core issues or kernel issues and things like that, with which you can cover in next class, maybe, right?
Yeah. So, see, when I work with the organization, I come across different issues. And if you come with you work with your tax support and everything, you are also facing different issues. So covering all those things is some kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but the approach what we follow to troubleshoot
Mm-hmm.
and look into those issues, that is very
Mm-hmm.
common. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, when you talk about the troubleshooting about the user complaint with the
Mm-hmm.
user or having the slowness or something like that, we'll have a one approach. Okay, these are the one, two, three things we need to see, and within that
Mm-hmm.
we'll be getting the answer, no matter which end system endpoints we have. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we can go like that. And if it's related to the blades which we have here, like IPS, URL filtering, endpoint connects. So with respect to them, there will be a model sort of troubleshooting. So we'll be doing module wise troubleshooting. So the debugs are accordingly that. So Linux is very vast. The checkpoint is very vast. Uh, Depends what actual the problem is. We'll be doing that troubleshooting. So that's why I told you, right? I have these services also. So for the working individuals, if they come across any issues,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they can ping me, WhatsApp me, and if required, I'll take a remote and we'll do the work and we'll try to resolve that things.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
with respect to their issues, you know.
All right. And,
So why I thought this services, because when I was working as a checkpoint admin, Uh, initial days, the first day. Now I have a set more than 12 years plus experience into the checkpoint itself. But when I was started like year one or two, that time I was not having anyone who can I go and ask, because that time we were not giving these credentials for the uh, having the tag sort of communication. Even if
mhm.
I go to the tag also, that communication is also get recorded, and the manager comes to you, why you're not talking silly questions to the tag, why you're doing this that. So the- I thought like why we don't have this service, so that the who are new into this world and they want to have questions. I should know why and 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 clicking that OK, right? Basic thing. That OK will make the entire changes. For example, uh, I just went to the gateway and I have just enabled some services or disabled some services. For example, I went to the gateway, I just unchecked the box called IPS or unchecked the box called VPN. And I just say okay, and someone install the policy. That complete functionality goes down, right? That time. But
Mhm.
if I'm new to that, I'm just trying and doing the fun over there. But I don't know what will happen in background over there. So like that, anything with respect to the troubleshooting. I thought like why people will go to the tag and make their reputation down because of all this silly question they're gonna ask to them. Instead of that, why didn't don't come to me and I'll tell them, okay, what is going on or what will be happen. Will we do this? Not only the basic things, but advanced levels. If you want to do troubleshooting with respect to the scenarios, because it's been like 10, 12 years I'll be doing this work. So I'm not saying I know entire checkpoint well, but at least I can tell you, what will happen when you do this thing and how you can approach a particular problem or a particular uh, at least if you're talking to the CEO, they will see, okay, the approach what this guy is following and the details what he is giving me, is relevant. He's not faking me, or he's not giving me just the usually we don't know the things, we'll talk to them, okay, this is what, this is that. So this is what I thought, like, let's go ahead and give those services at minimum cost. But let's see how it goes. I just started, it's been like maybe 2 3 months. I'm just doing this checkpoint training. I was not interested in this part, but later on I thought, like, having keeping your knowledge with you, it's no use. Let's go ahead and deliver that. Plus, you will getting some money also out of it. So
Mhm.
why not?
Yeah. Like yesterday, I ran into an issue where FWD service was uh,
Hmm.
taking up like high CPU.
Right.
What's going on? I mean, I wanted to answer, ask few people, but I didn't really get what I want. So if you have a service like this, I can just like, hey, I have a question. Let me know your cost. I want to get more in depth. Just like even in the lab, I mean, somewhere if there's a
Yeah.
question, then you can reach
Right.
out to somebody.
Right. Right. Yeah. For that purpose only, I thought, like, let's have those services in place. So if you're seeing such things, the spike into the server processes, what
Mm-hmm.
you need to troubleshoot, where you need to look, what is causing that, you know, in a layman language, I can tell you, if you're talking about the FWD, it's taking a high load. Just go ahead and see uh, the logs sending from the gateways. Of course, the gateway is having a lot of pressure of the having the traffic into that. Maybe the DDoS is happening, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the clue is, just check what are the gateways attached to your this log servers, what they are doing. If they are doing well, still going to see this high spike into this FWD, then you have other options to troubleshoot those processes specific to your devices. So like that, I'll usually suggest the approach to the end user. This is what you need to look the things step by step. And if you're talking to the customer, if you're delivering that thing to them as well, so they'll be happy, like, okay, the approach is correct, obviously this is what actually happening. And in between, in middle of these things, you will be getting the answer, okay, what is actually happening. And honestly, the one thing is that the troubleshooting, there is a no end. It's not like that, I just tell you that, okay, look into this and you'll be solving your problem. It's not like that. You have to go from the physical layer to the application layer one by one. But the approach need to be right so that you won't waste your time, delivering some other unnecessary things.
Excellent.
Okay, I don't know why it's taking too much time here. Stuck at the 90%. How about this guy? I think we did both at the same time. That's why. Should have waited for some time. let's do this. Let's suspend this for now because the first lab we have for the MDS. So I just want you to suspend it.